What's up, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the MMA Huddle podcast. Coming off UFC 230, where DC made some more history for himself by beating Derek Lewis. And overall, a very, very, very fun card. And just, I was actually surprised the amount of people that actually was at the arena. 17,000. They must have been giving out a lot of comps. And
a lot of comps, yeah.
And so on and so on. But yeah, that was last night. We're moving on to the 25th anniversary. And before we... 25th anniversary card in Denver, Colorado, where it all kicked off, obviously 25 years ago. Before we all go and start looking at that card and speaking about that card, like, comment, subscribe. We need your subscriptions. You go on the pages like Twitter, follow us in there, we'll follow you back. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. YouTube's a quiet little mare at the minute. On my channel, it's really, really quiet. I don't know what's going on with YouTube and in general at the minute, but it's just a quiet time.
I think sometimes when they change algorithms, because they do update often sometimes with their algorithms, so it just, everyone has a funk. It just messes things up. The numbers are all skew with, and then it kind of sets itself out again, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's it's not really a quiet time in MMA because there's fights left, right, and centre, week in, week out, right through pretty much Christmas. Then we've got the New Year card, we've got a couple of weeks off, and then they released the UFC schedule for 2019, which is, whoa, to say the least. It's like from the January 19th till the end of March, there's consecutive events, which is crazy schedule, going all over the place. There's going to be a lot of fights being made, a lot of interesting fights, and I'm interested to see the new deal with ESPN, and obviously, it's going to a new channel or a new platform over here in the UK as well in the new year. So interesting times. I am really looking forward to seeing what they do at ESPN, because I think ESPN is a really good home for the UFC in the States and that. So interesting to see how that affects us over here in the UK, and this whole talk of pay-per-view cards paying for them, which is never going to work over here. But yeah, that's next year. We're on to this card here in Denver, Colorado. Back to where it all started for the UFC, 1993. I remember watching
emotional
UFC in 1995 as a young 10-year-old, coming across a VHS tape that my dad had, not knowing what this VH tape was. It could have been anything, and it turned out to be UFC 2, which was the first time I ever saw the UFC. And it's pretty crazy that they're at 25 years and they're back in Denver, and they've got a fight card which is, I want to say, there is good fights in it, don't get me wrong, but it's, I thought they might have went out a little bit and really kind of stuck this card out, but I think what they've did is they went and stuck the pay-per-views out, which I think is probably the right thing to do because people are paying for that. But the main event is unbelievable. Yair Rodriguez against Chan Sung Jung. The co-main event is really interesting, Donald Cerrone and Mike Perry. And there is fighters throughout the card I am looking forward to seeing, and it's always interesting in Denver because that altitude, gassy fighters, so it's something to always keep in mind here. So people with good gas tanks is usually a good pick in this, but we don't know how the fight card really looks out, because there's an announcement out here of Julian and Rosa against Devontae Smith, which was literally made, I want to say, a couple of days ago.
Yeah, literally like midweek, some point like midweek, And
I'm looking at this card here actually, and I don't see Mark De La Rosa. Who is he against? Mark De La Rosa. Before we get into this and absolutely forget about a fight,
let's have a look here.
He got Joby Sanchez. Right. So I'm going to look off. I'm on Tapology and they've got that there, but they haven't got it on Wikipedia, which I usually look at. So.
Oh gosh, I don't have that one either.
Jordan Espinosa pulled out and Joby Sanchez came in, I think, in the last couple of days there. So a couple of late fights added onto this card, which maybe weren't needed, but it is what it is. And we're going to get started in the featherweight division with Julian and Rosa against Devontae Smith. You want to lead us out with that one?
Yeah, sure. I like this matchup for a couple of reasons. Julian Erosa back on familiar terms, UFC. He had a bit of a stint out. He actually lost to Paddy Pimblett in the UK on Cage Warriors. That was the famous Paddy Pimblett. I think that was the bout where he threw up as well afterwards. It looked like Coca-Cola he threw up. And look, he was landing some good shots, but he was a different kind of fighter then as well as he is now. As you saw him on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender, had an air of confidence about him. His movement was good shoulder rolling, good head movement. My only quarrel is he's going to take hits here. Devontae Smith is quick with his hands, got a lovely snap in his jab. Devontae Smith, nice wide stance, really makes it difficult for him to take him down. And as you saw, if you try to take him down, he'll do the old Travis Brown with those elbow strikes. So he's got. I like Devontae Smith's pace with his hands, and I think this is something where I think Julian's going to have to maybe alter his style a little bit to not make sure he doesn't get caught with them strikes. I don't think I can see that happening though. Looking at the two matchups, even though Julian has got twice as many bouts under his belt, and yeah, all credit is it's a short notice bout. Like I say, it was only announced recently, so I'm not sure how the condition is for both parties. I'm not sure maybe how far they knew before we all knew. That might have been an extra week. Even still, I don't think that's sufficient time. I think it's about that could have been put on a card later on, so they both had sufficient time to get ready. But I'm going to go with Devontae Smith here, even though he's probably going to be the underdog. But I just think his hand speed is something I can't, and his jab is something I can't ignore. His jab, he's quick, it pops, and it does damage. And the problem with people don't realise a jab can stop your pace in the fight game. If you're trying to be aggressive and you want to get something going, you can't get anything going if you're getting popped with jabs. It just wrecks. It throws you off your rhythm. It also looks good on the judges' scorecards. For an offensive man, it sets up everything. Sets your range up, sets up takedowns, sets up further strikes with the right hand, the cross, everything. I think it's going to be a hard fight for Julian to get going, because I think the jabs are going to just really cause him problems. Having his hands so low and moving his head, I just see him getting caught. A few times. I'm going to go with Devontae Smith. I think he'll stop Julian Rosa's second round TKO. I think he'll get the jab going in the first round to get the measure of him. And I think that hand down, head movement, swerving out of the way, Julian's just going to get caught. And I think Devontae's going to cause an upset. I'm going with the banana skin today.
Yeah, I think that Devontae's got a bit more. I think it's his speed. I think his speed's going to be a little bit, and his speed and his power, I think. And we have seen that Julian Erosa has been beat by power punchers in the past. I think Artem even stopped him, and Ishihara might have stopped him as well. So, if I remember right, but I was impressed with Erosa on the Dana White show. I thought I remember that fight kind of vividly. A lot of people were on his opponent, Jamal Emmers, who himself's a fairly decent fighter, but people were like all over Jamal Emmers, and he came in there and he showed that I think he's moved himself out of the Northwest, and he's moved himself to Vegas and situated himself there. So better training partners, better facilities for training. And it showed in his last fight. I thought he looked great against Jamal Emmers. Devontae Smith on the show, I thought looked very good. You could see very powerful, very quick, very athletic. If you give this guy a bit of space and a bit of time, he's going to uncork a shot on you and he's going to hurt you. What Erosa I think has to do is just fight at distance, pick his times to counter punch. I think that maybe Smith could be a fighter that maybe gasses out later on in the fight, so maybe Erosa's speed, and I mean he's been 5 rounds before that Paddy Pimblett fight. People gave fight Erosa, and I gave it to Paddy just, but honestly I think that I wouldn't argue with anybody that said that Julian Erosa won that fight, because it was super close, and if that fight took place in America, I pretty much guarantee that Erosa probably won that fight if it was over there. So I'm going to go with Devontae Smith. I think his power, I think his speed, it's just going to be a little bit too much for Rosa. I think that he has been put down in the past. I think this is, but and I've said this to a couple of friends already who've messaged me about this fight. Devontae Smith lost to John Gunther, and when this John Gunther fight comes up in a few fights' time, I really don't want to talk about John Gunther all too much because that guy's weird. That guy's like on another planet. I don't think he's an overly great fighter, but we'll get into that in a second. Devontae Smith knockout, and Gunther stopped him as well. I'm just putting that out there.
Yes, he did stop him. In 2016, was it?
Yeah, different matchups, I suppose. Matchups. You never know what's going to happen in matchups, but yeah, I am going to go Devontae Smith to win via TKO. We'll go the middle part of the fight there. We'll move on to Mark De La Rosa.
Yeah, we'll do that one. Yeah,
I think it's not on here, but Mark De La Rosa against Joby Sanchez, and yeah, where am I? I'm looking at the wrong page. There we go. De La Rosa's turned himself into a fairly decent fighter. I think that he's really he's got a lot of really good kind of tendencies that I quite like to see. He's quite a smart fighter, very aggressive, obviously, a lot of speed, which you're going to get with flyweight fighters anyway, with being small guys. Coming off a win over Elias Garcia, which that was a fun fight while it lasted. Got himself a rear naked choke in the second round, and yeah, I think that he was supposed to face Jordan Espinosa here, who's a guy coming off Dana's show, and it was actually, he's a fairly good fight. He's been on there a few times and won a couple of fights, and looks really, I think he's going to win fights in the UFC for sure. He pulled out. I don't know what the reasoning was behind him pulling out, but Joby Sanchez came in here, and he's the guy that we kind of know a little bit more about. He's been in the UFC, he got cut from the UFC, fought in Dana's show a couple of times, and then got his chance in the UFC again and got submitted in the first round against Roberto Sanchez, who is pretty much a submission or bust guy. If he doesn't get the submission, he usually kind of loses, and that was the case there. But like I say, on the show against JP Buys, he looked good in that one. Manny Vasquez is a guy that I've liked for a long time, and he came in there and beat him in Dana's show. I just think I like what I see out of De La Rosa. I think he's going to be one of these fighters that kind of grows with the more fights he has in the UFC, the more confidence that he gets. That's insane if the UFC keep this flyweight division around, which they're talking about not doing, which would be
exactly
absolute
big question.
I couldn't imagine seeing De La Rosa up at 135. He wouldn't fit in that division.
There's too many guys that wouldn't fit there.
Yeah,
it'd be ridiculous. They'd have to go.
It's a whole different. I don't even want to speak about that because that just puts my back up by getting rid of the flyweight division. But yeah, getting into the fight, I think that Joby's going to want to look to. I think he's going to want to look to kind of clinch up a little bit and just try and wear out De La Rosa a little bit. I don't see that happening. I think De La Rosa is going to be the fresher fighter. He was more fight ready for this fight than Sanchez was. So I'm going to go De La Rosa. I think if it finds the mat, I think he'll submit him again, or submit him, and Sanchez will tap out again. So I'm going to go Mark De La Rosa second round submission.
Oh, nice! I like it. Yeah, I like De Rosa in this fight as well. And I think one of the factors that probably plays a part is that doesn't talk about is him and his missus. You know, it's the both of them are the teamwork and the kind of synchronization the pair of them have. You know, it's a support network that you don't get if you're in just a normal relationship, because your other partner might not understand it. So I think it's something that it plays a big part. The two of them, they both want to succeed, so they both look to grow each other and help each other develop, and seeing each other, you know, doing well. I think that's part of the reason, you know, that's going to help De La Rosa really do well in next, not just this fight, but fights coming forward as well. I think the pair of them will rub off on each other, and I don't mean that in you know, that kind of way, if you know what I'm saying. But I think De La Rosa's got, he offers more than Sanchez on a finishing product. You know, I think he can use the hands to kind of bait Sanchez in to kind of brawl. You know, just kind of bait him in to get the takedown. You know, I think De La Rosa, if I'm Rosa, I want to get it down. I want to get it down because I think that's where the stronger opportunity to finish this fight is, and I think it would happen later on. Like you say, I think get Sanchez. Be active. First round, Rosa wants to be high pace, just keep putting the pressure on Sanchez. You know, test that conditioning out, see how good he is, see how fit and ready he is for the bout. High pace for the first and second round. come to the middle of the second round, start to maybe try and apply takedowns, maybe try to get submissions in from the mid-second round onwards. I'm going to go third round submission myself, though. I think he can just wear Sanchez out. These flyweights, though, even if they've not trained for a bit, they're still ridiculously conditioned because there's not a lot of them, so they're always, quite well-conditioned fighters. So I'm going to go third round, but I would not be shocked if it was just a dominating decision win for Rosa, because that weight class, as we know, isn't renowned for finishes. So I'm with you as well. I'm going Rosa too, bro.
Staying in the flyweight division, we've got this is another interesting bout, actually. Joseph Bopo Morales against Eric Showtime Shelton. Who you got in that one there?
How's Shelton still in the UFC?
Well, did he win a fight last time? I think he did.
He's 1-5, is he, or 1-4? I think he is. Yeah, he lost. I think he's 1-4, 1-5. He is. So, if I'm honest, folks, this is a chance for Morales to get. I think the UFC have given this fight more for Morales than they have for Shelton. I think Shelton was either going to get kicked out, but they kind of went, hang on a minute, if we can give this bout to Morales, and it's a good opportunity for him to maybe get the win. And I'm not writing off Eric Shelton. I just think Eric Shelton's got holes in his game that are exploited, and I think he hasn't closed them up, in my opinion. And it's too short of a time lapse to get those holes covered. And I think Shelton's boxing is good. He's got good hand, he's got good conditioning. Shows that he's been able to do 3 rounds before, even when he gets out grappled and he's kind of on bottom quite a lot. And he's in the third round, he's still good on his toes. He's still good putting out the strikes. But again, I just think Morales is this another one where, kind of like the Rose fight, he's going to get it down. He's going to swing with Shelton. They're going to exchange a bit, but I think it's Morales gets him to the cage, gets him down, and this is where the fight's going to be won. I just find another decision lost for Shelton. The guy is not getting put to sleep. He's going to lose by decision because he can just survive on the ground, but he doesn't have enough on the ground to stop it, and it's really frustrating for me because I think there's a bit more to Shelton. Maybe if he wasn't in the UFC so early, he could have done a bit more. But yeah, bro, I'm going to go... Ooh. Reconnecting. Your connection is poor. Oof, not had that before. Ooh. This connection is super poor. Ooh. So yeah, I reckon decision win Morales. I just think that Shelton just hasn't. There's no his confidence as well. I'm not being funny. You can't be confident going into this fight. Yeah, it's a mental factor. I just think Shelton's going to probably be happy to get that last paycheck because I think he's surprised as well. He'll be like, I can't believe I'm getting another stab at this. But yeah, Morales all day, bro.
Yeah, interesting. I think it's a really interesting. I like Morales. I've always been a stickler for Team Alpha Male guys, especially coming up, because I remember hearing Uriah Faber, because I was a big Uriah Faber fan, always talking about the fighters coming up, like your Files and your Morales and so on and so on. And this was one of the ones I was genuinely looking forward to. Benito Lopez, another guy, coming through, and I think, that first fight with Roberto Sanchez, he went in there, got the submission very, very early. I think he got through a really, really tough fight against Davison Figueiredo down in Brazil.
Hell of a fight, that, innit? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you're cutting out there, bro. Sorry, bro, you cut out there. What'd you say about that? Yeah, it's just connecting again.
Figueiredo's probably still a top 5 guy, I think, in my opinion. I think he's a fighter that we've seen the progressions every kind of single fight he's had in the UFC. So I think that was a tough one. I think this is one that's more to his liking. Honestly, I think that if you can take down Shelton numerous occasions, I think you can win decisions. Now, I'm not saying Morales is kind of... I think he'll be good. I think coming from Alpha Male, you're bound to be decent in your grappling aspect. and I think he is. I see it being really close. I see, in saying that, Eric Shelton's he's only win in the UFC. He took down Janelle Lauser 5 or 6 times in that fight, but that's Janelle Lauser, who's a boxer from the Philippines. So I'm going to go Bopo Morales. I think he can get him down. I think he's got an opportunity to get a submission here. And if you look at the losses of Eric Shelton, if you can take this guy down numerous times, Perez, Pantoja, they took him down 4 or 5 times, you win the fight. So that's where I think Morales needs to kind of focus on, try and get this fight to there, because I do think that he can get takedowns, and if you can get takedowns, you're going to probably win your fair majority of the fights in the UFC. So I'm going to go Joseph Morales. Do I pick submission? I'll go decision. I'll go a close. I can maybe see Shelton winning a round. I don't think he's all. I think
maybe the first round when he's fresh.
Yeah, I think I've maybe seen the best of him in Ultimate Fighter. I thought he looked great in Ultimate Fighter. I think he was the number 16 seed in that show, and he certainly didn't look like the last seed in that, in my opinion. But I'm going to go Joseph Morales. I feel more confident in that pick. Moving on, your kind of main fight, the fight past prelims here. I've honestly no idea how, like, Shelby made this fight. Like, Davi Ramos against John Gunther. I know you've got to match him up, but Davi Ramos, for me, I think he's a really dangerous and a really good, solid fighter.
Yeah.
John Gunther. What is John Gunther? This guy's he's from another planet. He's a space cadet. He's nuts. And I've actually spent 10 minutes of my time earlier on today. Don't know why I did it. I never watched his fights. I watched an interview, and holy shit, that guy is an absolute Fruit Loop. And we all seen him in the show. He got taken out super early. I think he got himself a very favourable matchup with Alan Zuniga. But I'm putting it this way: I am never, ever picking John Gunther in a UFC fight, whether it's against a 1-in-16 guy or a guy from the jungle of Costa Rica.
CM Punk?
Yeah, I'd probably pick CM Punk. And there's nothing like maybe I'm disparaging John Gunther a little bit, because he's tough and he's undefeated, but not really undefeated, because he got taken out in like 10 seconds on tough. But he is tough. He is gritty, and if you give the guy an opportunity to stay in the fight, and if you fade off a little bit, he could come into that fight. So he's got a little bit of heart. I don't see too much with his skill set, but he's got a win. I mean, he's got guillotine win out in the regionals. He beat Devontae Smith via punches in the 3rd round in a fight that he was pretty much losing as well. So the guy's got heart, the guy's got toughness, but Davi Ramos is a different beast to anything he's ever faced before. His jiu-jitsu is crazy good. His timing of his takedowns is crazy good. Showdagon's Nick Hein, he made Nick Hein look like nothing in that fight. Timed him to perfection, took him down. And once you get this guy in any capacity, he's like Jacare. If you have this guy on top of you, you're in deep doo-doo. And I think this is going to be another case here where I think Ramos will come out and he'll stand with him. He'll hurt him, he'll take him down, he'll submit him. So I'm going to go Davi Ramos to win via submission. I'm going to go 1st round submission for Davi Ramos.
I pretty much would copy and paste what you just said. I think Ramos is terror. He's going to be so much fun to watch. Not just, obviously, I'm not talking about this fight, I just mean for his UFC career. He's a great, exciting prospect. Like you say, he's a strong dude. So when he grapples with guys, they're going to be thinking, what the hell have I got into? Because the dude is just so good. When he cranks like guillotines or anything like that, you watch, you just think, God, that squeeze looks ungodly. It just looks horrendous to be in. And I'm with you. I think he hits when he goes to strike, he throws really heavy because he's obviously not looking to stand there for long. He just wants to kind of get the guard up, and that's a big factor. You see a lot of guys, if someone's a kind of a technical striker, they won't always just throw hell for leather every shot. They'll set the shots up, and then they'll put the power shots in. He's throwing heavy to start with because you want your guard up. So like you say, Will, you shoot straight down for the takedown, so it gives him more of a chance to get in. I see him getting the fight down. I think Gunther might resist a little bit on the cage, but I think, you know, might get like a leg reap or something, and then, gosh, you're just going to see Gunther just absolutely freak out when he gets Ramos just doing what he wants to him on the ground. I'm going to go platter. Let's go crazy. He can do whatever he wants on the ground to him. Go platter first round. Absolute terror this is going to be. It's going to be... I just want Ramos to get over this so we can get Ramos into like a really exciting, legitimate lightweight fight, because I think the lightweight division is so stacked. There is so many good fights you can put him into. So I'm going to go with Ramos on that one.
Yeah. So moving on to the Fox Sports 1 card, starting off in the lightweight division. Now this is a really interesting kind of matchup at this kind of point of his career.
Yeah.
You've got Beneil, newcomer, and Thiago Moisés, who is a guy that I've known for a long time. So I'll let you lead off with this.
I'm a bit confused at the moment still. I don't know what the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender series as a whole is meant to be, because there's still quite a lot of guys on this card, and they get quite big names, you know, in stature of the UFC. And I think, well, you just sign these guys so guys who are bigger than can get like a gimme, like a not a gimme so to speak, but like a tougher fight. I don't know. But then again, Beneil Dariush, I think he way underestimated Mr. Hernandez. I think he just went in there and went, I'm Beneil Dariush. I honestly think he did. I don't think he was in the right mindset, and I think that's taught a valuable lesson. But Beneil needs to kind of get away from the striking that he started to fall into. I know he got better striking with Rafael Cordeiro at King's MMA. His hands, his feet got a lot better. They did develop. He got a lot of confidence, and he did well. But the dude is a world class, a world title winning grappler. The dude should just stick to what he is good at for every now and then, and this is a fight where just stick to that with this fight. Don't change anything new. Now, don't get me wrong. Thiago is in his own right. I think it was LFA, wasn't it? He was with for a while. LFA, legitimate promotion. A ton of guys go from LFA to the UFC. It's just a feeder, one of the feeder promotions. He's had some good fights on there. He lost a title bout in a 5-rounder, so he's gone 5 rounds before. So it shows that he's kind of ready for that step up. He's been there. He's done that. He's himself, you know, got some submission wins. Not bad striking. But I like Beneil in this. I kind of see this as like a redemption bout for Beneil. I think it's a chance for him to kind of say, I'm taking everyone serious. And I think we might see Beneil of old, where he will use the strikes to set up the takedown, get it down, and then when you get on the ground, Beneil, like, he is so good. Oh, the dude is so beautiful with his transitions, which people think when someone goes from guard to half guard or side control, etc., they think it's easy. It's so fucking hard to do. I promise you, if no one's ever grappled, you've no idea what you're in. It's so hard to go from A to B and then B. I'm watching him do it effortlessly. I'm in my heart. I'm hoping I see this old Beneil, and I'm going to go with Beneil submission, second round. I think I think you might see a second round submission from Beneil Dariush. It's not a gimme fight though at all.
No, Moisés is good. Moisés, I've known Moisés for a long time. I think he had like a helicopter armbar submission way back in the day, and that's where I first kind of caught eye on him a little bit. But I think, to me here, I think this is all about where Beneil is in his life and where he is in his fight career, if he wants it anymore, because he's not won a fight in 2 years, and in those 2 years, in the 3 fights that he's taken a shit load of damage. in those fights, and there's been brutal knockouts in there, life-changing knockouts. The fight with Barboza was competitive up until that flying knee, which absolutely rocked him and put him out of this world. Evan Dunham started well, then Evan Dunham started absolutely beating upon him in the late part of that fight to make the fight a draw. And then Alexander Hernandez, he got starched in 40 seconds. And that was another vicious knockout.
Yeah.
So it's like, where does he really want it? And he's got a lot of miles on the clock now. And now he's facing a young guy who's coming in his debut, who's going to be hungry for the win, who is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, whose striking's decent. I've seen him knock out people with head kicks. And obviously he's got the jiu-jitsu side of things. He's opened up his own gym. He's focused on a lot, and he's building his own fight team out there in California. I think it's around about the King's MMA kind of side of things. I can't remember the name of the camp. It's like, does he really want it? I think it's a good matchup for him personally. Because I think that Moisés, although he can hurt you, I think that he needs to have a lot more output to do that. Like the Barboza and the Hernandez fights was one hit, one kill, one shot, one hit, one kill, you're done.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. I don't see Moisés. Well, I shouldn't really say that. I think Moisés has got it in him, but I don't see it as much as I do with Hernandez now or Barboza, which we've known about for a long time. But when Beneil Dariush is on, he is very, very good. Very crisp, beautiful counters, beautiful heavy leg kicks, and great jiu-jitsu. But there is opportunities to get him as well. So I'm going to go with Beneil Dariush to win via decision. I think he slows down a little bit in the fight, but I think he does enough in the early part of the fight to get in there and get a W and get in the win column again, because he needs, pretty much that's what he needs to do, is get back in the win column here. So Beneil Dariush, I'm going to go a unanimous decision.
Nice.
Moving to the featherweight division, Chaz Skelly against Bobby Moffett, another guy who's coming on from the Dana White show, who is really, I was surprised when I actually went back and had a look. I never watched any of his fights before. I've seen the Dana White one. I'd never seen anything beforehand. And the guy's good, and he comes from a good camp. And that's the people that come off the Dana White show that come from camps I don't know much about. I'm a little bit skeptical. But this guy's coming from a legit camp with legit coaches, with former UFC champions as coaches, and he's got a lot of talent. This kid, I think he's very, very good, and I think he's got himself an opportunity to win this fight. Honestly, I think that the betting lines, just looking at them now, are really close. Where Chaz Skelly's a -130 favourite to Bobby Moffitt's a +110 underdog, and that's came down considerably as well. So by fight time, I think this fight could be a pick'em, very much so. But you watched him on that show, the Dana White show. The kid he was against, I don't think had any business being in there. I really don't. I think he was still super, super young. Someone like Moffett, who's been out in the regionals, lost a couple of fights, but won his fair share of fights as well. Getting there, had the far superior grappling, the far superior control, and it showed. Once again, the second round, I think when you seen that kid sit in the stool, that Jacob Kilburn, you could see that the fight was out of him. He didn't know what to do. He had no plan B.
No.
And then Moffett came out, took him down, submitted him with ease. Chaz Skelly, he's not called the scrapper for a reason. He scraps every single time, but he's not been fighting all that regularly. He's not been. He's just not been around. The last time he fought was 2017 against Jason Knight, where he got knocked out in that fight.
Fun fight that was.
It was a great fight.
Yeah.
That's when back when Jason Knight was winning fights, because Jason, for the life of him, cannot win a fight at the minute. But when he's on, he's very, very dangerous. We've seen that against Blanco. He caught him in a submission within inside the first 20 seconds. Grutzmarker, he got there and submitted him. So I think he's one of these fighters that's you have to really kill him to beat him. I think he takes a lot of damage, takes it very well. But yeah, He's had his fair share of really dominant wins in the UFC. He's been around for the last 4 or 5 years, and he's a fighter I like watching. And I think I'm happy to see him back. I think he had a really bad surgery. I forgot what the surgery was, but it was a big one, and it has a big impact on your body. Like the fact that he's moved to Florida with a good camp with Henry Hooft, and his striking's definitely improved. His grappling's always been pretty solid. His most solid part of his game, dangerous submissions as well. Got a good squeeze in him as well. I'm going to go with the newcomer. I'm going to go with, I think he can run a pace for 15 minutes. I think he's got more than enough skills on the feet to trouble Chaz Skelly. I think if this was to go at the ground, I think he might have the advantage actually. I think Skelly will be the bigger guy, but I think he's got a better gas tank, and I think that Skelly fades a little. I don't think you can do that against this Bobby Moffett guy. I think he's going to smother you. So I'm going to go Bobby Moffett to win via the decision here, and I think as the fight goes on later, he comes into the fight, he wins the fight.
And if you're Bobby Moffett and you've got a chance to fight in the UFC against Mr. Skelly, you're going to bust your balls in training. You're going to go that extra. You're going to go a bit harder. You know, you're going to make sure you got everything on point.
Yeah, I watched an interview actually later on with James Lynch, and he says that he literally doesn't take a day off. So his day off today was actually teaching like kickboxing classes. So the guy's always in the go. So he realises it's a big opportunity as well.
So you think with Chase, my only concern, like you say, he likes to fight, he likes to scrap. Like you say, the third round he does kind of start to slow down, because he does so this when he grapples so much and he strikes so, he's fighting when he's striking, it just tires him out, and he sometimes goes at a pace he can't keep himself to. You know, if you're going to go first round and you're going to go hard, you've got to be prepared to go hard for 3 rounds with some people. And I like to say Bobby fought on Victory FC, which is on Fight Pass, which is a, like you say, regional show, legit promotion again. You know, they have some good guys on there fighting. They obviously got to the UFC, and as you can see here, I think Skelly's got the advantage on the ground, in my opinion. I think Skelly's got the advantage on the ground. He is, those long arms is what people kind of sometimes, he's a dangerous guy with those arms, like with Darce's guillotine threats all the time. I'm going to go with Skelly. I'm not overly confident on this one. This for me is a pick 'em, and seeing how you've picked Mr. Newbie, I'm going to pick Mr. Oldie. I'm going to pick Skelly because he's a little bit unorthodox as well, because he's not, like I say, his striking's developed. I hope that he'll try to get it to the ground, get on top. I just think maybe sometimes experience does come into it. You know, being under big lights, that can play a factor. Maturity can happen. The break might have refreshed him as well. You know, his body might feel like it's a new man. So and also Mr. Skelly is a bit of a betting man. If you ever follow him on Twitter, he loves his odds. He loves it. He loves. Yeah, he's all on it. So I don't know who he's put money on. So if he ends up looking like he gave a choke away, you might know his bank account's got it paid. But I'm gonna go with Skelly, mate. I'm gonna give a decision with Skelly though.
So we're moving on to I think this is going to be the featured fight in the prelims here. We've got, I don't know why it's a featured fight actually.
Because they made a massive main card. Because it's a fight night. What's it called? Fox night, isn't it? Fox card or whatever.
Yeah.
Bloody massive main card and tiny little undercard, which is bananas. But yeah.
I would have put someone like Dariush up here who's got a little bit more name recognition than these two girls.
Yeah.
Actually, you're going to face off against Amanda Cooper.
This is.
I don't know. You lead off. I think I'm going to lead off in this one, but you lead off.
It's pink slip. It's a pink slip bout. I think it's a potential pink slip bout here. I'll give kudos though to Yoder. She did pretty well against Mackenzie Dern. You know, she put it on Mackenzie, dropped her. She did well to take down defenses. You know, both of them have faced off against Mackenzie, both lost, but at the same time, you look at Ashley, she got dropped hard by Mackenzie Dern, and Mackenzie's Dern striking is piss poor. There's no way to put it, folks. It's awful. Right? She landed that punch because Amanda Cooper was so cocksure of herself, she didn't think about moving her head out the way. That overhand right It came from the bleachers, okay? It came from the nosebleeds, you saw that coming. And she still didn't move out of the way of it in time. Yeah, albeit Mackenzie Dern had an 8-pound advantage over her in the weight class. But that to me is telling, you know, about Bobby Cooper. She talks a good game. She you know, she does. She should have better hands than she does. She should have better head movement. But I just think Ashley's got better combinations than Amanda in this fight. Don't get me wrong, Amanda might try to get some takedowns in this bout because, like she's shown in previous bouts, if she gets on top, she's not too bad. But I think Ashley, again, her takedown defense is going to nullify that. So I think we're going to see a 3-round bout, a lot of back to and fro. I'm going to go with Ashley Yoder here. I'm going to go with decision with Ashley. I just think her combinations, her variable combinations and her output will cancel out what Amanda can offer. It would not surprise me if Amanda gets put down either, even with not just like a big shot, just maybe like a little clip shot, just a wobbler, put her down and she gets back up again, because Ashley's not throwing like big heavy shots at her. But I think I would not be shocked if Amanda gets hit, and I think this could be Amanda's last bout in the UFC. It's a shame because she is what the UFC could use is she's a good product to sell for the UFC, and it's not to be sexist. Like, she looks the part. She doesn't smack talk. She's got a bit of a slight bit of attitude. She's got a good combination of things that the UFC could have used. But I think Ashley's going to get the nod here and get the decision win.
Yeah, when you look at the losses that Amanda Cooper's got, they're not bad losses.
No.
Aspen Ladd is going to turn into a really good fighter. She is a good fighter.
Yeah, she is.
Flores is going to wear a belt in the UFC. I've no doubt about that, in my opinion.
For fun.
Calvillo's dangerous, and Mackenzie Dern, as bad as she is with her striking, is not great. She's heavy-handed. She throws a lot in her strikes, and if she catches you, you're in deep shit. But you look at the fights that she's won. I mean, Angela Magana, meh. Anna retired after that fight. I don't think Ashley Yoder is fantastic by any means, but I think she's going to fight smarter than what Amanda Cooper will. I think she could potentially stop Amanda Cooper via submission here. I think Amanda is very subjective to getting submitted, and I think that Yoder can take the back, and she can be like a spider monkey in the back, and she'll stay on there, and she can work, and she'll find a way to maybe get a submission. And in her 3 fights in the UFC, she's not looked out of any fights. She's lost them all, but she's always been in the fights. So I'm pretty confident that Ashley Yoder will beat Amanda Bobby Cooper here. Bobby Cooper will probably go back down to, I think Invicta's a great spot for her, honestly. I think that you go and put her in there, maybe build her up. If you were to give her 5 to 6 more fights, if she could reel off a winning streak, the UFC could have her back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't personally. I think that Yoda's just, I want to say better, but she's maybe not. But I think she's a little bit more experienced. Not by much. She's faced tough girls as well, but I just don't think Amanda Cooper's making any gains. Like when I watched Dan Elmo's fight, in which we were there live at, to our last couple of fights, there's no. Now I know she's been facing probably tougher girls as well, but there's no.
Elmo's looked good in that. Cooper looked good in that one.
Yeah, Elmo's had a chance to win that fight as well. I'm going to go Ashley. I'm kind of thinking a little bit too much in this. I'm going to go with my original gut feeling, and that was Ashley Yoder. I think she could get a submission, but if not, she could definitely ride out a decision win there. So my pick is going to be Ashley Yoder. So we're moving on to the main card here, which is 6 fights. Oof, that's rough.
That pacing is going to be horrible. Horrible.
That was a good thing about UFC 230 last night. It started an hour early, which was brilliant.
Yeah.
I think that's the main reason why I stayed up to 4:30 to watch it, which was a bad decision this morning when I woke up. But still, this is an interesting fight for the fact that these guys were maybe going to be facing off in the Ultimate Fighter show, and someone saying that they would have won the show if they stayed in it, and the guy went on and won the show. So it's Mike Trizano against Luis Violent Bob Ross Pena, and a lot of people are disrespecting the guy who won the tough show here. I really think that the betting lines are off. When I look at the betting lines, he is plus 300. I didn't expect that, honestly.
No.
Mike Trizano is 7-0. Luis Pena 5-0. If you go back and have a look at their amateur, they got knocked out a few times. Whereas Mike Trizano's never lost. He won all his, I think it was his 6 or 7 amateur fights. He's won his 7 professional fights. He won all the fights on the show. So this guy's got a lot of experience. I've heard people say he's not got that much experience, and the guy's got at least 20 fights, or close to 20 fights. Ultimate Fighter, his pro fights, and his amateur fights. That's enough experience for me, and for what I've seen, to see and have a little look. This guy's a well-rounded fighter, very solid in kind of every aspect. Nothing stands out, but he's super just solid. That's the kind of fights you have to be careful with, because if they start making gains in one aspect of their game, then they could become a dangerous fighter. It could become very good. And Trizano, it comes from a great camp. In fact, they both come from great camps here.
Yeah.
Trizano comes from the mighty Tiger Schulman, which is, I'm starting to really like that gym.
Yes.
Saw abundance of them last night at UFC 230. They went 2-1 on the show, but still, he's training with guys that they've been training for big fights. Shane Burgos, Julio Arce, Lyman Good. So he's been getting into like fights. I'm sure he's sparring with all those guys on the run up to this fight. Luis Pena, I think he's at the American Kickboxing Academy. Yeah. So he's been in with some great guys. He looks like a guy to me that I think if you give him a couple of years, this guy's going to be really super good. I think people are taking too much out of the Richie Smullen fight. Richie Smullen's not great. He's not a good fighter.
No.
At all. He's nowhere near. I think Trizano would handle him with ease if they ever fought. I like what I see out of Mike Trizano. I think that people are writing him off just because Luis Pena did look spectacular against Richie Smullen. It is only Richie Smullen though, but you can see some of the gifts that Luis Pena's got. He's big, he's aggressive, he's got obviously some jiu-jitsu skills. I just think Mike Trizano right now is the more well-rounded fighter. I think if he survives early and doesn't get caught in any uncompromising positions, I think Trizano will run out a decision winner here, and the betting odds are way off in my opinion, and I'm going to take a shot on the underdog. 100% take a shot on the underdog. Mike Trizano via a decision win.
Nice, I like this. Look, I think another factor is Luis Pena is more vocal socially as well on social media. You know, he talked about meeting his biological dad, all sorts of things about rough time. And I think that does play a factor. A lot of it sways people's thoughts, and that he was part of the fight camp for Khabib when Khabib was fighting Conor. You know, there's a ton of things he was doing in that bout. AKA, you know, we just had DC have his fight camp and have his fight, so there is a momentum there for him to ride on, and a confidence brewing with the guys at AKA. So I'm sure that's going to rub off. But for Mike as well, training with someone like Shane Burgos, who cracks, I would not want to spar with Lyman Good. Ooh, no. But this is the thing, Mike's getting kind of looked over because Mike's quiet. Mike's under the radar. He's not out there. And I think people need to just kind of step back. And like you said, one big factor is amateur backgrounds. Amateur backgrounds are great because they are a learning curve for fighters. They get to learn a lot about themselves, find their kind of style, and there is no such thing as too many amateur fights. You know, and I think Josie Torres is a great example, having not 25 or 26 amateur bouts. You can just bang them out all the time. It's great, just whack his men. And like you say, Mike, solid amateur background, pro ranks, he's had good success there. I think Lewis is going to be a very dangerous fighter. I just don't think he's mastered his length yet, the range. I don't think he's mastered that yet, and this is where he'll fall short. He should, Lewis will start in time to realise that, like, kind of Rock. Do you know how Rockhold uses those kicks quite well? I think we'll see that with Luis Pena soon. Not yet. I don't think he's had time yet to develop that. But I just think Mike is going to get the game, if he just has to close the fight down. He closes that range and fights in his range, not Lewis's range. Lewis ain't going to have a lot of good time. He's not going to have a good time there. I think you're going to see Lewis get put up against the cage quite a bit. I think you'll see Mike just grind him up against there quite a bit. You know, get the strike, bull rush, cage work. If you can't get him down, obviously they'll separate and he'll just do it again. But he's going to. I think Mike will try and get 1 or 2 takedowns in here, because Lewis, when he throws certain strikes, it looks nice, but sometimes isn't that great, powerful or anything like that. It's just a visual kind of thing for the judges. I'm going to go Mike. I'm going to go 3rd round TKO, because I think he might just tire Lewis out a little bit here with the kind of pacing that you're going to put on him. I'm going to go crazy 3rd round stoppage for Mike.
Interesting. Okay, moving on to the women's strawweight division with Maycee Barber coming in here against Hannah Cifers, who's making her UFC debut. Yeah, how do you see it going?
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of thought I had about this fight. It's happening. Let's just take it on chin, folks. I would have actually, even though I don't think Ashley Yoder and Amanda Cooper are that awesome, I still would have had it the other way around. I still would have had the fight the other way around. But Hannah Cifers is a girl who's been around the regional scenes. She's fought on Titan FC, for example. She hits hard for her weight, like for her size. She cracks. One of the reasons she hits so hard is because she has no footwork. She just literally plants her feet and just plods, and as soon as she's in range, she pops off a combo, just bop, and she hits hard. Like, she just cracks everything into it. And if she hits your head, it's going to wobble. These girls in these weight classes aren't big, and your head's going to wobble. My worry is, at this level, I know it's the UFC level, and even the women's divisions aren't that strong at the UFC level, but I still think at this, she is beatable. You should be able to beat her as long as you do footwork. As long as you use your footwork to move around, you just get here, there, and everywhere and get about, you'll be fine. And I think that Maycee can do it. I think Maycee's going to use footwork to move around to get the takedown in. I think she's going to look for the takedown to get this win, and I think she can get it, because I think the problem you've got when you're so flat-footed like Hannah is, your reaction time is slow for takedown defense. You can't sprawl quick enough. You can't get the angle. You can't get what you need to get away from the takedown. And I think all you need to do with your Maycee is just let Hannah plod forward. As she's coming forward, just take a step across on the angle and go in for the takedown. Get Hannah down. And when you're on top, Maycee on top, she's done it before. She's got legitimate ground and pound. You know, she's got good grappling, good wrestling. She can control people on the ground. She can get obviously she can get submission, but I think the ground and pound is going to be a player factor. Even if Hannah gets up, don't worry. I think Maycee can get her down again. So I'm going to go with Maycee here. I think Hannah's tough. Do not get me wrong. I've seen that girl fight. She's a tough girl. I'm going to decision for Maycee, because I don't think the pair of them are that great, and I think it's early doors for the pair of them. But just all she has to do to avoid Hannah is just keep out range and just don't let her plod and close you down. So I got Maycee decision, but one hit from Hannah could just wreck her day. Like, literally, she doesn't look at folks, but Hannah cracks.
Yeah, it's definitely a harder fight than what she originally had. She was supposed to face Maya Stevenson, and that was a nailed-on W for Maycee Barber. This is a far stiffer test than what she was originally meant to face. Cifers, a girl who I think she's got a pretty impressive record, and her losses are to 2 fighters who've won fights in the UFC. So that's something you've got to take into consideration a little bit, that she's faced probably better opposition than what Maycee Barber's faced. But she is a kickboxer predominantly. She was an amateur K1 kickboxing world champion. She doesn't have a hell of a lot to offer on the mat, but I think her takedown defense is from what I've seen, okay. But I think if you were to get her to the ground, I think that's where you could expose her. I think on the feet, she's not quick, but she's got a lot of tools. Very, very dangerous. Chopping leg kicks. Her Muay Thai is like super legit. I think knees, elbows, punches, and she has power. She has for a woman like that. She has got some big power, and you've seen that in some of her fights. If you go back, some people don't go and watch them, but if you do, you will see that she cracks, and if she hits you like you said, you'll feel it. I see this being a lot. Actually see this being very, very close. Barber, I don't think can take her, not take her serious on the feet. I think that if she doesn't, and she underestimates a little bit here, Cifers will come in and will could get a big surprise upset here. The betting odds are way off again in this one. Also, let me see actually. So where are we? Hannah Cifers is plus 365, while Maycee Barber's a minus
what?
Minus 460 favourite.
That's insane! Oh my gosh!
I trust stuff like that. Now, I kind of trusted that last night with Roxanne Modafferi and Sijara Eubanks. Maybe that I could see why the lines could be like that. I don't see it with this one. I think the lines are completely off.
Yeah.
So if you want to take a shot on a legit underdog, if you go out there and you watch the tape and you like what you see, Hannah Cifers is worth a little bit of anybody's money in my opinion. But where I kind of see the differences in this one is here. I think that Cifers is definitely more technical and she's stronger, but I think that Barber is more athletic and she's faster, and I think she can mix it up better, and she has more of a varied skill set than what Cifers has. But it's a tough fight, and I think that it could pretty much go either way. I think that Barber, she comes from Colorado, she fights out of there, so she fights at altitude. She can probably go super hard for 15 minutes. I've got a win in the fight via decision, but I see it being super close. The betting lines, I don't think you should never pick fights on betting lines. No. I'll just have a look to see where, if the bookies are looking into things as closely as what I am, or other people that bet fights, or other people that pick fights. And I think they've not looked at this at all, and they've just went with the hype train in Maycee Barber. Now, she is very good. I think that Cifers is just she's good as well. So, and she's going to give Maycee Barber problems. I just think that the speed, the athleticism, the varying game from Maycee Barber's going to win the fight, and she's going to win via decision. But it could be a close decision at that as well. Flyweight division: Joseph Benavidez, Ray Borg. Good fight. This is one of the fights I'm really looking forward to. I want to see where Joseph Benavidez is at. I want to see Ray Borg where he's at, because if you've not been clued in with kind of things outside the cage, Ray Borg has had an absolute shitstorm of the last, I want to say, 9 months to a year, whatever, with his little boy, which is that story is absolutely heartbreaking to me. It really is. As someone who's lost a kid, his anniversary is coming up next week, and I know how it affects like that. But having that operation after operation after operation, I mean, that little baby is strong as anything. I think the mum and dad have did fantastic. I love the fact that people have been reaching out to kind of help pay for medical bills and stuff like that. Even Brendan Schaub, who is an absolute twat.
Yes, yeah.
What he's done to reach out and say, I'll pay your medical bills, I've got you. That's a pretty classy thing to do, in my opinion. And I've kind of got a little bit of a soft spot for Ray Borg in that aspect, that he is fighting probably for his little boy here, and he wants to just try and get a bit of normalcy back in his life, being a fighter and so on. And he's got an opponent in Joseph Benavidez, who was definitely the worst looking Joseph Benavidez I've seen in years against Sergio Pettis. I think if you even give an extra 10% in that Benavidez fight, in the Pettis fight, he wins that fight personally. When I look at it, I don't think Benavidez will be as rusty as he was last time out. I don't see it. The one thing I can't get behind here is Ray Borg having a fight while all this is going on. Now, I know he's got bills to pay, I know he's got a life to kind of get on with, But I know if I was in that position, there's no way I could do that. I don't think I could. He's been out in happening, so, and he comes from Jackson Wink. I don't think he's been in that camp all too much because his little one's been out in Denver. So I don't know who he's training with. I don't know who he's sparring with. I don't know who he's getting his direction from. I don't know how much he's been in the gym. That's the big thing for me. Has he been in the gym constantly? There's no way he can be. There's absolutely no way with his. I don't see a way how he could be in the gym as much as he was before for his other fight. I don't see it. And I don't see Joseph Benavidez being as bad as he was. I thought he looked bad. I thought he looked rusty last time out against Pettis. But he is a guy that's been around the sport for a long time, and it might be his time when he starts dropping off a little bit, but he's maybe not got a better chance to become the flyweight champion if the championship sticks around than he has now with Cejudo, who he's beat before as well. Very closely, I must say. Ray Borg, when he's on, he is very, very good though. You don't get too many people going down to Brazil and beating Jose Formiga, and out grappling them as well in certain spots. So, and I mean, his last fight was over a year ago. Demetrius Johnson, world famous armbar, Mighty Mouse armbar. It's a close fight, but I think if it was a full training camp where I knew that Ray Borg was in day out, sparring, getting better, I think he'd be an easier guy to pick here. I think Joseph Benavidez has got nothing. He's got no kids to kind of distract him. He's got the beautiful Megan Evie to distract him, which is, he's a lucky little twat for that.
That's a distraction in itself.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he's with TJ Dillashaw. I think he's out there in California. He's got some of the crazy conditioning that the guy, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, yeah.
He does is he literally makes you puke, and he pushes you to our limits. And this guy doesn't lose too many fights. The guy has never lost 2 fights in a row. And the guys he's lost to: Dominic Cruz, Demetrius Johnson, and Sergio Pettis. Sergio Pettis is definitely the lowest. The guy you look at there is a little bit surprising. The guy only loses to top fighters, but is he at that point now where he's ready to just drop off? Who knows? He could have lost that Cejudo fight as well, by the way, because that was close, and I saw people give him Cejudo that fight. But anybody else in that division, he just beats them. I think it's competitive on the feet. I think there'll be grappling aspects of this one. I think that'll be very, very close. I've got Benavidez via split. I think it's going to be close. I think he's just going to do enough to squeak a decision, in my opinion. But it's a close fight.
It's a horrible fight because, like you say, because the Ray Borg situation. If you don't think about that, folks, or you don't look into that, and you don't consider it, you're out of your mind. I could not. I'm the same as you. I can't imagine being able. I can imagine going to work and focusing on my work. Never mind going to train and physically drain myself, and then emotionally be drained. I just can't. I can't look at Ray Borg as I can knowing this. I just can't, because, like I say, it is rough. It is rough. That absolutely horrible. Has he been able to make every training session? Did maybe the little one get a little bit poorly some days? He had to take a couple of days off, maybe. We don't know, because he's never going to disclose that information. He might disclose it in the future, but right now he's never going to disclose it. Like you say, you got to pay bills. The UFC haven't bothered to put their hand in their pocket to help out, which is fucking disgusting. Let's put it that way.
Had the McGregor thing as well. Had the McGregor thing back in April. The McGregor, I remember the incident in Brooklyn where he had a fight and he had glass supposedly in his eye as well, so he's loads of stuff. So
the UFC haven't bothered just to put a couple of quid in to help out when they're a multi-billion-pound dollar company. It just emphasises what the UFC is all about themselves, not the fighters. It just, for me, Benavidez though, when you try to take Benavidez down, that dude will get that neck if he can. So that is something that Ray Borg's got to be uber cautious about. On the feet, I think the kind of range that Benavidez and combination that he can throw is good. I think Borg throws good combos, but I just don't know what the condition of Borg's going to be like, man. Like, what is that third round how's his condition going to be? Because I think Benavidez is going to be a lot better than, like you say, than Pettis fight. I just think he was just not fight sharp. You know, he was not sharp in that fight. I mean, he didn't perform. I've got to go Benavidez. I'm not going to split. I'm going to do a flat-out decision. I just think he's going to be sharper than Borg. He's just going to have a bit more on Borg. He's just going to have a little bit... Because I think Borg's going to be fighting, maybe like you say, for his family. But that's not what he should be fighting for. He should just be fighting the fight and just focus on that. I think these extra distractions can cause this emotion to get in the way. I've got to go Benavidez decision.
It's a shame. Like, I feel so sorry for Ray Borg and like what he's been going through. Like, I wouldn't actually mind him if he went on here and won the fight just for the fact that he's going to pay. He's going to make he's going to get his win bonus. He's going to get his show bonus. He's going to get everything. I think they should.
I'd like fight of the night bonus if they could or whatever. I'd like something like that, you know.
Yeah. So, but like, good luck to him. I hope his little boy pulls through and no more surgeries. I think he's had 7 surgeries or something in like bonkers. 7 or 8 months of that. It's crazy for brain surgery. It's like, that's crazy, man. So good luck to young Mr. Borg, and hopefully he gets better and he can has a kind of fulfilling life and he's looked after pretty much. Women's bantamweight division, we've got Raquel Pennington, Germaine Randamie.
Everyone's looking forward to Germaine to be back, aren't they? Everyone's very excited to see her back. The paper £145 champ. I don't know what you want to call her, really. Yeah, so she's gone back to 135. You know what you're going to get with this girl. Her striking is on point. Her range is on point. She can pop. Raquel Pennington relies on dirty fighting, dirty boxing, getting in close, just taking away the space away from you as a competitor. I don't think she's going to get that space against, Germaine. I just don't think Germaine is of the lower levels of that division for her to get caught in that space. Plus, Germaine can crack. That girl can hit. She can hit hard. Gosh, how old is she now though? Gosh, Germaine is what, mid-30s, something like that, 30 something like that. I don't know how much of a factor that plays into it, if age thing, because she's been out for a while as well. Sorry about the throat. I think this is going to come down to the striking on the range, and if you can get the range and keep the distance, you win. And I think Germaine's going to win, even though it kind of hurts to say that Germaine's going to win, because I just thought she handled the whole thing about the 145 so poorly. But I think that Rocky's going to have a really tough problem here, closing down that distance. She wants to... Germaine's strong as well. That girl is shredded, strong as an ox. I don't think Rock, even if she gets the clinch work, I think she can get out the clinch game. I think Germaine can be strong at clinch game. I don't think Rock can get her down. I'm going to actually go for a finish here for Germaine. I'm going to go for... I'm going to go for like a 3rd round stoppage, because my thing that bugs me as well. So we're in November now. She got stopped. Amanda Nunes stopped Rocky in May, so you got May, 90 days, so May, June, July, till you can spar in theory, depending on how she felt. So you got July, August, September. So yeah, she's probably had just maybe enough time to get the full recovery upstairs. But she's going to fight another striker. That's what bugs me. Like a hard hitting striker. I'm going to go with Germaine, 3rd round stoppage. I think she can just pick, just pick away there for 3 rounds. So I'm going to go 3rd round stoppage for Germaine.
The one thing that I hate about Rocky Pennington, she wanted to quit that last fight. She on the stool. You could see that she did not want to fight on. And that shows the mentality that you don't want to fight, and she is a professional fighter. I think she's hit her peak, she's hit her summit of where she's going to be as a fighter. I think that the Randamie, if she fights smart, and uses the tools that she's got. She's a far more polished striker. She's got a reach advantage. She's got a height advantage. She can get her in the clinch. I think she can bust her up in the clinch. I think she can bust her up at distance. Just don't get taken down. I think that's what maybe Rocky will look to try and do is take her down and maybe try and work on her down there, because she's kind of dangerous down there with some of her chokes and so on. But if this fight wasn't in Denver, she wouldn't be in this fight. There's no way she'd be in this fight. But she's fighting at home, and that might gear her up. She might go in there and she might put on a performance. When you look at wins in the UFC, I mean, Jessica Andrade's a great win. Misha Tate, it looks a great win, but Misha was thinking about quitting. Elizabeth Phillips, Betch Cohere, Ashley Evans-Smith, they're not great wins, but to be fair, she has beat maybe potential champion in Andrade, and she's beat a former UFC champion in Misha Tate. I think she's hit her summit. I really do. I think Amanda Nunes took a lot out of her. I think that Germaine de Randamie is someone who, if she turns up and she's on full form, I think she could really hurt Raquel Pennington. I feel more confident picking de Randamie as much as I don't want to pick de Randamie in a fight after the shit she pulled against Holly Holm and the whole championship thing and ducking Cyborg pretty much.
Yeah,
what she's done. But I'm going to pick her. I think, like you said, she could get a finish here. I'm going to go a decision. Decision victory there. Co-main event of the night. Interesting fight. And there's a bit of bad blood between these two with camps and so on, and just bad blood in that regard. But the cannibalization of Mike Perry, and an absolute, it is a really good co-main event. It's a fight I've been going back and forward on. This is the fight through the whole entire card that I've been flip-flopping on quite a bit, because Cerrone is just I think one of the best fighters the UFC's had. Well, maybe not one of the best, but I think one of the most entertaining fighters we've ever had. A guy that just wants to fight wherever, whenever. But I think he's starting to get to that point now where he is definitely dropping off. I think there's going to be fights where you will still see Donald Cerrone being super, super aggressive and super entertaining to watch. But there's other times where he's going to succumb to people that you don't expect. He's going to succumb to pressure. And that's what Mike Perry's going to want to do. Mike Perry is not going to change up. Just because he's went to Jackson Winks and he's probably training, he's got big trainers and so on, I think you can try and teach him to maybe change. I think once that door in the cage closes, I think Mike Perry will always turn into the same type of fighter. Aggressive, looks for the knockout, comes forward, will take a strike to give a strike. And that is where Donald Cerrone in the past has succumbed to. He's succumbed to pressure fighters. Darren Till, prime example. Darren Till just walked him down, picked him apart, landed heavy shots. You could even go further back to Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis did the exact same. Started picking at the body, and just absolutely. And I mean, that was 2013. I'm talking about. That's like years ago.
Raquel.
Yeah, Raquel absolutely busted him up. Jorge Masvidal busted him up. But when you look at the guys he's losing to, like, they're
killers.
not bad fights.
Yeah, killers.
Yeah, like, but what I will say was, I thought I actually quite liked his fight with Leon Edwards. He never gave up. Edwards he's not a fighter that you think has been a great fighter, but he is really solid. There's no way you can take it away from him. He's a super solid fighter. And he gets better every fight. He showed that in the UFC. But he had his spots in that fight where he could have, if he was to fight hard in one of those rounds, it could have been the other way around and he won the unanimous decision. Beat Medeiros, lost to Darren Till, lost to Robbie Lawler, lost to Jorge Masvidal. Solid, good fighters. He's not losing to bad fighters.
No.
When you look at Mike Perry, he's losing to Max Griffin a few fights ago. I still think there is aspects out there, like 2 fights ago. It's not even like it was that long ago. It was only 8 months ago that he's losing to Max Griffin. And I'm not talking shit on Max Griffin because he fought a great fight. He used the aggressiveness of Mike Perry, got takedowns, counter-struck with him, absolutely beautiful. And then he won a split against Paul Felder. Paul Felder, that was a fight that got put together very, very short notice. At 170.
Paul Felder broke his arm in the first round, so he could actually only So Paul Felder's output, which is generally very good, went right down. I think if Felder's arm hadn't gone, I think Felder would have took that. End of discussion. It purely was that arm break that made that difference in that fight.
Yeah, and when you look at like all the fights that Mike's had in the UFC, there's not a boring fight in there. There really is. I think there's times when he's been outclassed. I think Ponzinibbio outclassed him. Griffin definitely outclassed him in my opinion. Alan Jouban fought a great fight. Picked him with leg kicks, got out the road. Mike Perry was just swinging at air the whole time. So I think Cowboy can fight. I think that's a fight. If he can get off to a good start, get his confidence going, pick his shots, fight smart, I think he can start to frustrate Mike Perry. Now, the interesting thing is I do like the fact he's went to Jackson Wink, because he's got better training partners, he's got better coaches. Now, I think Jackson Wink is kind of coming back a little bit. I really do. I think it's a camp that's kind of struggling a little bit. The names that are coming out of there are not as much as they once were, but it's still one of the best fight camps in the world with great coaches. And they're going to help someone like Mike Perry, but I just struggle to see him making the changes needed once that cage door closes, because the guy's a mental fighter. He's a 100% mental fighter. And if Cowboy can just come out and fight smart and don't get brought into a firefight, I think he's the far superior fighter with technique, with his skills, with his jiu-jitsu, with his wrestling. I think he's got it all there if he uses it and doesn't get caught. So I'm going to pick Donald Cerrone to win the fight via submission. I think that he maybe gets into a bit of trouble. Somehow it finds its way to the mat, and then it might end up like Shane Burgos last night, where he might get hit with a shot, it might go to the ground, they might start transition on the floor and swapping positions, and then Cowboy has got a beautiful triangle submission, big long legs, and he could maybe potentially catch Mike Perry in a submission and put him to sleep. I'm going to go with Cowboy. I'm going to take a shot on the underdog here.
It's a hell of a scrap, because you've got the background, like you said, with the camp. Because how much information are they giving to Perry about Cowboy? My first thing, they'll be saying, look, he has a tendency to do X, Y, Z. You know, because after Cowboy kind of lit fire at the Joe Rogan podcast about the whole camp, they will be straight away going, right, he drops his hands when he does his fun, he just does this, does that. So that kind of started to sway it to me a little bit. I thought, man, they'll be... But then you think, is Perry smart enough in the fight IQ? I've not seen it in any fight. It's all heart. Every fight is all heart. You know, it's not a technical bout. He's not being smart. He's not being efficient with his energy or output. He's swinging to entertain. And look, don't get me wrong. It's like when Mike Perry signs a fight bout, I'm immediately going, I'm watching that because I know what I'm going to get. Same thing though for Donald Cerrone. When he signs a fight bout, I'm like, I'm in. And I tell you what, I think that Leon Edwards fight was a turning point. You and me were both the same. We were like, Edwards is going to destroy him. Because Edwards cracks. And at the start of the fight, I looked at it, we were like, I think you were the same as me when you watched it, uh-oh, here it comes. And that Cerrone just showed a heart and a will and a... I think everyone kind of thought, this is it. This is Edwards' coming out party, you know? And he did really... Edwards had like some really big kind of asterisks on his performance himself, because Cerrone just showed what he's about. And I kind of filled me with confidence about Cerrone, like how bad he wants it, and maybe he's realising, look, I've got more in me. I think Cerrone... I think one thing that's going to catch Mike Perry in this fight is it's the kicks that Cerrone has, man. Like you said with Jouban, you know, it's Cerrone's got even way better kicks than Jouban. Like Cerrone's flexibility, he can throw those kicks in so many kind of positions, like close or further away. Like, he's got great teeps to keep the distance. He's got cracking leg kicks, head kicks. Oh my gosh, some of the head kicks he's finished bouts with. Oh my word. Perry needs to get it close. He needs to fight close. He needs to just swing those brawling. And I think if you're Cerrone, you just get the hell out of there. Just footwork, footwork, footwork. I want to pick Cerrone as well, because I think he's got a smarter IQ. He has got a smarter fight IQ. Like that, I still go back to that story combo. Woof! Like if you see Cerrone throw anything like that on Perry's gonna go. He won't know what's going on. He'll think he's in another dimension, like the Matrix or something. And I swear, I think I go to Cerrone because I think both of them have not got the best chin. Like Perry's been cracked and wobbled, and I think that both of them can do it to each other. I just think Cerrone's got more to win with. Like you said, the submission game is an option, but I think those kicks are a big factor. I can't avoid those kicks. The leg kicks and head kicks. I think Cerrone might set up a head kick finish with the leg kicks. So I'm going to go with Cerrone via... I'm going to go wild. I'm going to go crazy with a head kick finish. Second or first round. Alright. Bonkers. I know.
Nice. And the main event of the night. The Korean Zombie returns. Was supposed to be Frankie Edgar, which was a great fight. Frankie pulled out. El Pantera jumps in. And I think this fight instantly gets better in my opinion. It does. A contrasting style. It has all the ingredients to be an absolute fireworks. I know we're in the kind of the period for fireworks, but this could literally be fireworks in the cage. Great main event, interesting main event. How do you see it going?
I've got to say, it's a completely different fight than what with Frankie. Let's put it that way. Like, I immediately went, Frankie's going to win. He's going to wrestle Zombie. He's not going to bother standing with him. That'd be stupid. I think Frankie's just going to wrestle him, and I get the win. But now it's like, Yair ain't going to be wrestling that much. Yair does uses his legs really when you get in the clinch. He's got the nice little trips and stuff like that he uses because he's got the long legs, which are good for that. Like with the judo tosses and stuff that he does. But this fight is super, super, super fun to watch because the Zombie just does this. He just walks forward, just pressure. He's a pressure guy. And you don't have to do a lot with striking to be a pressure guy. If you're just moving forward, that is pressure, because if you're the opponent, you either have to stand your ground and fire back, or you have to go back. Now, going back is exhausting. This is a 5-round fight. There's only a couple of guys who can go back for 5 rounds. Wonderboy is one of them. He can keep up for 5 rounds. Can Yair do it for 5 rounds? I always question his conditioning because of the technique he uses and the explosive power that he does with his strikes. It's not a 5-round style. But that being said, the Zombie needs to keep that distance. Not here. He needs to have it like this. You limit Yair's striking range, you limit his weapons, his main arsenal, his main kind of skill set, which is the kicks, the longer strikes. He did not want to fight Sharapov. No, is it Sharapov? No,
Zabit.
Gosh, Zabit. He did not want to fight Zabit. End of discussion. I'm telling you now, he hurt himself. He didn't want any of that because that style, he would. I'm telling you now, Zabit would have just absolutely mauled Yair. End of discussion. But this fight, I think he's got a chance. You know, the Zombie's been out for a little bit. He's had one fight. Is it one fight since one fight since 2013, which was after his military service against Dennis Benavidez. Again, not the same fighter as Yair. I think Yair can win a decision because I think he can win the first 3 rounds. But then I think that's when that's when the Zombie can get the fight closed down because he'll be a bit more tired. And I think he can. I'm going to go with Yair decision. I'm not overly confident, but I think he can win 3-2 decision here. Because, like you say, good luck knocking the zombie out. You know, I think the great one has only done it, Mr. Jose Aldo, in the UFC. But I think he's fundamentally sound, solid competitor, the zombie. But I just think in 5 rounds, I think Yair could maybe just keep him away with the kicks, keep the distance, and just score those 3 rounds. So I'm going to go decision Yair. Yeah, I'm going to decision Yair. 3-2 though, not a lot in it though.
Yeah. This, like I said, this has all the opportunity of being an absolute. Thing is with that as well, Korean, like Chansung Jung's only 31 years old. He's not that old. He's been away for actually 5 years.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about being in the prime of his career, he should start to be in the prime of his career right now, probably. Coming off a big injury as well. That's the reason he's been out for the last year and a half. I want to say nearly coming on 2 years actually. Beat Dennis Bermudez in his combat fight. Dennis Bermudez is super easy to hit. He's very, very hittable, and he caught him with a shot and took him out in the first round. Rodriguez is not as hittable as what Dennis Bermudez is. When you look at Yair, very, very exciting, unpredictable. You don't know what's coming. There was a lot of funky stuff, but you've got to remember that, like this, since he last fought Frankie Edgar in May of last year, he's had a bit of a shitstorm over here. The UFC released him. I think a lot of people kind of forget about that
because he turned down fights.
It looked like, yeah, he was turning down fights. Didn't want this, didn't want that. Then the UFC re-signed him. He's a switch stance fighter. Obviously, he throws a lot of funky stuff. You don't know what's coming. He is the bigger fighter. I think he's actually got a discrepancy in the reach disadvantage, but I think his leg reach is something that a lot of people don't take into consideration. It's something that I look into. I'm a fan of Yair Rodriguez. He's still a young guy, 26 years old, been around for a little bit. I'm interested to see how this last year and a half went. I want to see if he's made improvements in his game, because I think it's fairly obvious how you beat this guy. Frankie Edgar showed how you beat this guy. If you stay standing with him, then you give him opportunities to spectacularly get knocked out, like Andre Fili did. Andre Fili initially started looking for takedowns, couldn't really get it, got spectacularly knocked out. He's got previous 5-round experience. He's got previous 5-round experience at altitude as well. He fought in Utah, in Salt Lake City, which is also altitude. So, and he went fairly hard in that fight for 25 minutes. He did get hit quite a bit against Alex Caceres. He can't get hit against those. He can't get hit like he did in that fight against the Chansung Jung, because Jung is dangerous, super dangerous at all aspects. The only time he's been knocked out is by a head kick by George Roop. That was way back in the WEC, probably 6-7 years ago. That was after coming off the Elena Garcia fight. And if there's new fans listening to this that have never watched Elena Garcia first fight, you need to go on to Fight Pass. You'll probably go onto YouTube. You'll find it. Even in the second fight, he pulls out the twister. Unbelievable submission. And like I say, his only loss in the UFC is to Aldo, where I think he hurt his arm in that fight, and then
he broke his arm, didn't he? Because he kicked it. Aldo kicked it, didn't he? He broke it.
Yeah, and no, I think was it the shoulder?
No.
I think he popped the shoulder out.
No, popped his
shoulder popped out, and he couldn't throw it, and that was it.
You saw the shoulder drop, didn't you?
And then he got taken after that. But super dangerous. Like, still super dangerous. The ring rust, I don't think. I don't want to say he won't have ring rust. They might both have a little touch of it.
Yeah.
But I think that if anybody's going to show a little bit more, I think it will be the Korean Zombie. I don't know why I'm saying that, but I've got a funky feeling that he will. I'm going to go with Yair Rodriguez as well. I think he takes him out. I think he knocks him out, actually. I think it's fairly close. First 3 rounds. You can maybe see Jung later on the fight maybe fading a little bit, and I can maybe see Yair. I think this has every opportunity to be a career like highlight on Rodriguez's like promo packaging. I think that he's got opportunities to knock this guy out with head kicks and so on. I don't think that Jung's going to want to take him down. But you need to be careful because obviously you've seen that he's got some funky stuff if it goes to the ground as well. So I'm going to go with Yair Rodriguez with a knockout in the middle part of this fight, third, fourth round knockout. And it's shit because I love both fighters. I think everybody's kind of the same, especially with the Korean Zombie. If you come up watching fights in WEC and early UFC, like the Pori fight's another fight. If you've never seen that fight, you need to go back and watch. He was taking some licks in that fight, and then he managed to find a dart stroke in the fourth. Unbelievable fight. I'm going to go with El Pantera, though. I'm going to pick him via knockout, round 3, round 4, and so yeah, another underdog pick for myself.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. It's a good card wins it. Like those top heavy fights, really, really good. Looking forward to them. But yeah, I think we're back next week. I think we are back. It's the first time the UFC are Argentina.
Yeah. Popping out Argentina and Cherry, yeah.
So that's interesting to see them going into another country in South America.
They've pulled Lipsky off because they couldn't get a replacement for her.
Oh, that sucks.
That's shit. That fight was probably the fight I was looking forward to most.
Yeah, but that's good fights on there as well. Actually, there's obviously the main events.
Magny Ponzi, top fight.
Yeah, I think Lamas and Elkins is kind of interesting. I think Botelho and Calvillo's interesting. Tom Breeze is on there. Interesting fight.
Oh, he had a go as well about the lack of promotion from UFC. Yeah. I like that. And then Dan Hardy suddenly perked up. I was like, dude, you work for them. So what are you on about, mate? You're only down the road. You're not that far from Birmingham. Yeah. You've done nothing to promote them. So don't you start hyping up, lad.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't know. I think that's going to be that could be a very entertaining card as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's us done with the UFC Denver. Bets wise, I think it's a rough card to pick. Just looking at the lines, and I've been looking at them kind of back and forth.
Is it maybe an underdog one then, like a couple of little underdog ones? I
think I picked 4 or 5 underdogs. So I think I picked Rodriguez, Cerrone, Benavidez. He could be an underdog come fight time. He's like -1.7 over here in the UK.
Mike,
315. Hannah Cifers.
What's Yoder against Cooper? Do you know what the odds for that one? She's
a -1.
Oh, she's minus. Oh, right, fair enough.
Betting favourite. I've picked Bobby Moffett. He's an underdog. So the way I'm kind of looking at it is maybe a dog or pass card. I don't see parlay options. Like last week, I had Robertson and Burgos, which was a nice cash. I'm struggling to kind of see where that is. But like I say, Yair's an underdog, Cerrone's an underdog. The way I'm kind of looking at it is underdog bets here. But it might be one of those cards where you just pass altogether because it's a tough card with heavy betting lines. So I think you have to do your research on your picks and so on. Maybe
Morales and Randamie.
Yeah. Close fights, but I think I'm probably going to be betting a couple underdogs and just leaving it at that. I don't know which ones they're going to be, but I probably will be betting underdogs there.
Yeah.
I think there's better opportunities coming on in future cards as well. So
there's plenty of cards. There's plenty of cards to bet on.
If you want to ask me about or even see my bets, you can go to my bet MMA tips. Fine, put my name in there. You'll see all my bets for the last 2 years, I think it is. And you can see, especially this year, I've been absolutely killing it compared to last year where I was shitting it. So, yeah. We'll be back next week. We'll be back next Sunday, and we'll get this out for you by Tuesday or Wednesday at the latest. Like, comment, subscribe. Leave your picks in the drop-down box. And just tell us if you've got any bets going and let us know. Even if you have questions for next week or whatever, if there's something on your mind, throw them in there. We'll get them out next week to you. But until then, from me, from John, take care, enjoy the fights, and we'll see you for UFC Buenos Aires in Argentina. All the best.
Adios.